I've created this simple little voxel terrain, but as soon as I load the project and start moving around, it's obvious something is off. The project takes forever to load, and despite the world being fairly empty, it's super slow and lacking a lot. In this video, I'll walk you through how to use Godot's profiler to locate performance bottlenecks so you can optimize your game properly. You can find the profiling menus down here at the bottom by selecting Debugger. The 3 tabs we'll be looking at in this video are Profiler, Visual Profiler, and Monitors. Before we run the project again, make sure you select Auto Start for both the Profiler and the Visual Profiler. You can also start these manually once the game is running, if you don't need data from the very start. If we just run our project now, the menu down here will swap back to the default output menu, but that isn't very helpful when what we want is to look at the profiler. Luckily, we can use the pin icon down here to avoid this. We can also use the icon with the 2 arrows right next to the pin to expand the menu up. This is especially useful if you're profiling on one display and running the project on another. In this video, however, I'm just running everything on one display. Let's take a look at the regular profiler first. Make sure that it has autoload enabled and the pin is pressed. Now when we run our project, we instantly get some feedback down here in the menu. To the left, we can select what data is visualized over time on the right. If we click on the graph to the right, the project will instantly pause so we can examine what's going on. If your game has the mouse captured like my project here, then this can be a bit difficult. I usually just tap out of the game and then either click pause manually or click on the profiler graph. By default, only the frame time and the physics frame time is selected. The physics frame time is the red line here, and this is the time Godot has allocated between physics updates. Here it's 16.66 milliseconds, which is the same as 60 frames per second. This is what we'll be using as a reference for everything else. The light blue here is the frame time. This is the time it takes to execute everything, and it's important to remember that this also includes rendering. What we see here is what's happening right now in the game, plus minus some frames. But it won't show you the performance after running the game for a longer period of time. Using the profiler to find bottlenecks really just comes down to running the project while keeping an eye on the performance graph. When the frame time either spikes or is settling over the physics frame time, then we know we have a problem. Let's evaluate what we see if we unpause again. Well, the physics frame time is over the frame time, so this is fine. We don't really have any problems right now. But keep an eye on the frame time as we begin to move around in my highly unoptimized voxel terrain. Whoa, okay, now something changed. The frame time is now much higher than the physics frame time. Oh, this isn't good. So let's pause and examine what's going on. This is definitely a sign that something needs to be optimized. To the left here, we can see the measured speed of the frame time. We can also change what's measured here and select the physics frame % to get an even better overview of how bad this is. The frame time should be less than 100%, so this isn't good. So now we definitely have proof that something needs to be optimized. But how can we then find where the problem is? We can start by going down the list of things that can be measured here. There are a bunch of Godot things, and then at the bottom there's a section called Script Functions. This is where your own scripts are analyzed. In my project, I only have 2 unhandled input methods, a physics process, a process method, and a custom method that I've called test method. Going through all of this, is there anything that could explain the high process time? Well, in my case here, there really isn't. This indicates that the problem might have to do with the rendering. Luckily, we can examine if this is the case by going to the Visual Profiler tab. This works similar to the regular profiler. To the left, we have the things that are measured. In the middle, we have the CPU usage, and to the right, the GPU usage. Oh, this doesn't look good. If we look really closely, we can see the line that indicates the time we have for a frame, which means that all of this over the line is a problem. Again, we can go through each of the things that are being measured and locate where the main issues are. We should also take note of whether the problem is on the GPU or CPU. Rendering is a huge topic in itself, so instead of trying to understand what everything here means, I would suggest you try to research the specific things you're having issues with. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help in the Godot community. There will most likely be others with a deeper understanding of rendering that can point you in the right direction. In this project, we can see that some of the things taking up time here is setup 3D scene, render depth prepass, and render opaque pass. Looking at this and also considering how the project is set up, I'm thinking that we have way too much drawn on the screen and it's done in a very ineffective way. Considering how relatively small this world is, it seems like something we should be looking into optimizing. To get a sense of how bad my current solution to rendering my terrain is, we can go to the Monitors tab. Here we can track data over a longer period of time. Again, we have the measurements to the left and visualizations over time to the right. Let's take process, total objects drawn, total primitives drawn, and total draw calls for now. By looking at the graphs, I think it's clear that there is a correlation between the drawing and the processing time, which, makes sense in a lot of ways. But we can also see that the number of primitives drawn is more than 1 million when we are viewing the entire world. We also have the same number of objects and draw calls, which also sounds like something we could optimize on. I'm not looking into memory usage for this project yet, but this is also something you can use the monitors to track. We can also track the number of objects and nodes and, more importantly, often nodes and much more. At some point, you might also want to track custom data. In my case, this could be the number of cubes my world consists of. We can add this from within a script. In my ready method, I'll start by adding a custom monitor by typing performance add custom monitor, and this takes 2 inputs. The first is where this will be shown in the monitor menu. I'm writing game/cubes. You'll see in a minute what this will correspond to. And then the second input is a callable. This should return the value of what we are monitoring. Since I want the number of cubes, I'm quickly adding a variable to keep track of these and incrementing this whenever a new cube is added. And then we can create a lambda function that returns this for the monitor. If we run the project again and scroll down to the bottom of the list of things we can monitor, we now have a new section called Game, with the cubes being the number of cubes I have in the scene. Since we can't add or remove blocks in my world yet, this is just static. Right now, it's also just about the same as the total number of nodes in the scene. The last thing I want to show you is how we can measure running time manually. Using the profiler is good and all, but sometimes we need to narrow down even closer where the problem is. We can do this by using the getTicks method from the time class. First, we measure the tick count before whatever we want to profile is run, and then we do the same after the code. Subtracting these, we then get the time spent running the code. Here, I'm using this to measure how much time it takes to generate my terrain. In this video, I gave you an introduction to the profiling tools we can use to locate bottlenecks in Godot. But one thing is locating bottlenecks. How do we then optimize our way out of them? Well, this is something that unfortunately there isn't only one simple solution to. You really have to collect data using the profilers and use these to locate where your main problems are and then start with those. And remember, it isn't uncommon to try out multiple solutions. The important thing here is then to remember to save data that you can use to compare solutions with. This video is part of a longer series where we'll be creating a voxel terrain in Godot. In future episodes, we'll be using the profiler and monitors a lot when we compare several solutions to creating and rendering our terrain. So, if you want a much more hands-on experience with debugging, profiling and optimizing a project, then I suggest you follow along. I hope you like this video, and remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell and all that if you want to see more like this in the future. Bye!